Arun, am I on? Yes. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Namaskaram, namaste. Sriyakal, Salaam alaikum. Happy to be here with all of you once again at Katha with Karadi. I hope all of you are ready for today's wonderful guest and what we are all going to do together with her. So, how many of you did the snails from Tamil's session? We got so many snails in our mail. Yeah, not snail mail, fast mail. The snails moved really fast into our inbox. And there is just one small suggestion that I want to give all of you, especially the mothers and fathers who are helping the children post their drawings or post their craft or post their activity onto our Facebook page. Please don't put it in the comment because it makes it really hard for us to find it. So give it to us or send it to us as a direct message DM, yeah, in which case it's easy for us to retrieve all of them and look at all of them and share it with the guest or the artist. Yes. So today, who do we have with us? Today we have with us a wonderful artist. Her name is Tanvi Parulkar. She came to us in Chennai before the lockdown. She joined us as an intern and she came to us from the National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad. She lives in Mumbai, but the college sent her to Curry Details to do her last semester of internship with us. And she has been so fabulous. She works very quietly. She's a slip of a girl. She sits and she did the 5 covers of our new series of books. And I have never ever seen this kind of illustration done for a cover, because what she did was she worked with clay, like clay dough, and made all these wonderful characters based on the stories, and tuck, and suddenly we had this fantastic and marvelous cover. And we were so happy to have her with us. We wanted to give all the projects in current details to her because she was so fabulous. But Tanvi had to leave for Bombay because what happened? What happened? Yes, the lockdown happened, but she still has been working on our projects from Bombay, and we are so happy to have her here with us today. And I hope you've got all the stuff she's asked you to be ready with. Arun, can we get Tanvi on stage, please, on the screen? And let's all give her a big round of applause. Yes? Tanvi? Hey! So happy to see you, Tanvi. How are you doing in Bombay?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Staying at home, staying safe.
Staying at home and staying safe. Are you doing a lot of work, creative work as well?
Yes, I've been busy.
You've been busy, yeah. So I know you did these fabulous covers for us when you were with us, and I just so loved it. And at the Curry Details office, we were all taking clay and making all kinds of things, and then we thought it would be so wonderful to have Tanvi on Katha with Karadi, so that she will teach us also to make something. And today, unfortunately, I am not going to be making whatever Tanvi is going to be teaching like I did with Tamil. Yeah, but because I have to go and quickly make the chapati ka atta so that I can join her later. Okay, so Tanvi, the stage is all yours. Let's.
All right.
Yes.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining this session today. I'm going to be introducing you to this really wonderful medium of clay. I have been working with clay for over 12 years now and I still have not fallen out of love with it. And in fact, I would suggest all the parents who are sitting with their children today to also give this a try, because I'm sure that when you guys were kids, all of us have interacted with clay at some point, whether it was Play-Doh or even the chapati atta in our dadi's kitchen. we all have interacted with clay, and it's a really nice medium to work with, and you can do so much with it. Like, for example, as a child, I used to just like make these little dolls for fun, but now I've decided to apply it as illustration and actually make book covers. So there's a lot you can do with this medium. I'm going to show you very simple techniques today that you can apply to make other different characters beyond what we're going to learn today. And for the tools, I've kept it very simple. Like I said, I just need you guys to have one fork and one spoon with you guys. And I'm just going to flip my camera now and show you my workspace so we can get started. All right. I'm not able to see the comments. Can somebody send some thumbs up so that I can see if it's working? I am still not able to see any comments. Can something be done about that? Okay, awesome. I guess everybody can see this. All right, so before we get started, I'll just talk a little bit about the tools that you need. You'll be needing a cutting mat, or you can even use a plate. The reason why I asked for this is to protect the surface that you're working on. So when we're doing a little more complicated sculptures, we usually have blades, and we don't want to damage the wooden table or anything that's below us. So anything is fine. If you don't have a cutting mat, you can just simply use a plate. And you will be needing some clay. It doesn't matter what color it is. It could even just be one color. With me, I have blue, white, and black. This is going to make the eyes of the elephant that we're going to make today. You're going to need a spoon, a fork, and a toothpick. These are the only tools you will need. Usually when I'm working, I use these tools, which are a little more professional tools, but they're really sharp. And for a beginner's level, you don't really need them. So today we're going to keep it very simple. And we're just going to be doing it with these simple tools. All right, so before we get started, I would like to share the different types of clay that are available in the market so that after this lockdown ends, if you guys find this medium interesting enough, you guys can go buy that and try these different things. So till I show you that, you can just go ahead and set up your workspace. So the first type of clay is plasticine. This is just regular plasticine that you can get in any stationery store all over the country. It's very cheap. This packet just costs 50 rupees, and it comes in a variety of different colors. It's non-toxic, so it's perfect for children or people who have not worked with clay before. This clay never dries, so you can always reuse it. Another type of clay is polymer clay, which is to be oven baked. So this is the kind of clay that you can order online, but it is a little bit more complicated to work with because you have to bake it for it to harden. But that also opens up a lot of different things, a lot of different avenues for you to explore, because you can make, like, I'm just going to show you some examples of the things that you can make with polymer clay. You can make keychains, you can make like these little dolls. Now, this is a more complicated kind of sculpture, but with a little bit of practice, you can always get here. So this, once baked, it becomes a hard sculpture, unlike the rest of our modeling clay. And another type of clay is air dry clay, which comes like this, which is again for children. It's non-toxic, but it air dries. So you have to work with it fast, and then once it dries, it cannot be reused again. All right, so we're going to quickly get started. Today, we're going to be making a simple elephant. Now, this sheet looks a little bit intimidating, but stick with me here. It's very simple. Each character that you have seen, all of your favorite characters, are always made of a basic, are always made of basic shapes. So here we have the elephant. We have a circle, which is the head. Then we have a teardrop shape, which forms the body. And we have cylinders that are going to form the legs. So I'm going to walk you through how we make all these individual shapes, and then we're going to assemble it to make the final character. All right. So I'm just going to go through some comments to see if everyone's ready. Okay. One 1 second. I think there's a bit of an issue. I'm unable to get out of the comment section. If anybody can help me with that. Okay, all right. Okay, so we can get started now. So you take your clay and we're going to start with the head. So take a small piece of clay and we're going to roll it into a sphere. So once you make the ball, I'm going to give you some time to do that. We are going to slightly make it into an oval shape. We don't want it to be an exact sphere. We want it to be a slight oval. So that makes our head. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and make the body. So a lot of these shapes can simply be made with the right use of your hands itself. You don't need any tools to do it. And a lot of them are just extensions of the simple basic shapes of a circle and a cylinder and a square. So for the body, we're again going to do the same thing. We're going to make a sphere. To make it smooth, it's just having equal pressure from both your hands. And you don't want to add too much pressure because then it will flatten. You just want to have the right amount of pressure. So when you have the sphere, make sure your sphere is slightly larger than the head so that it can take the weight of the head when it is finally assembled and your elephant can be sitting upright. So now when you have the sphere, we're going to place it down. Take this side of your palm and we're going to gently put it on one side and go back and forth. So this done, do it very gently. Make sure you're not putting too much pressure. It elongates one side of the sphere. And here we're trying to look for a teardrop shape. So you should have something like this. It doesn't have to be too narrow here. All right. I'm just going to wait for 2 minutes till everybody has it. Okay. So now we're going to take the rounded part of the sphere and put it down, slightly press it so that it has a flat bottom so that it can again balance the rest of the sculpture on top of it, because this is the main part that's holding all the different parts of the elephant together. So just flatten the bottom a little bit. You should be able to see like a flat disc. All right, so we have our body ready. Now we have gone through, we've made the sphere, we've made the teardrop shape. So we have the ears left, we have the trunk, and we have the 4 legs. So let's start with the legs. So it's essentially 4 cylinders, but we're going to manipulate them a little differently to make 2 hind legs and 2 front legs. Also, by mistake, if your nails touch it, you can simply use your thumb and smooth it out with very little pressure. All right, so now we're going to make the legs. Make sure you're using 2 equal sized pieces of clay so that the legs are the same size. We're going to start with the front 2 legs. Again, we're going to start with a sphere. Like I said, everything starts with a sphere, and then it's what you do with it after that that makes the final shape. So we have another sphere and another one. So here we have 2 spheres. More or less, they should be the same size. If it's not exactly the same, it's fine. It's not about being extremely perfect here. We're just trying to learn the techniques. Now we're going to roll it. So again, when you're rolling it, make sure you're controlling the pressure. If you roll it too hard, then it will flatten. So you can use either the middle part of your palm or the bottom half of your palm to roll it, whatever you find comfortable. So a lot of sculpting is also about manipulating it as you go. So now I have noticed that this piece of clay is large enough to form both the legs. So I'm simply going to divide this into two parts instead of using this, because if we were to have two legs that were this big, it might be too big for the front of the body. So we're just going to roll this further. And usually I would use a blade here, but we're keeping it very simple. So we're just going to use a toothpick and divide this into two equal parts. So now we have two cylinders that are approximately the same width. Now what we're going to do is they have to fit on the front side of the body as if they're sitting like this. So we're going to take one side of the cylinder and just roll that so that it's slightly thinner, so that the top part of the leg is thinner than the bottom part. So you're going to do that for both the leg pieces. I'm going to wait a little bit after we make all the four legs so that everybody can catch up. So now we have two of the front legs ready. For the hind legs, we can simply use the remaining bit of clay or add a little bit more because they're slightly more stout. And we're going to roll it again into a sphere and divide it into two parts. All right. So again, the same steps, roll it into a sphere and then use the middle or the back of your palm to roll it into a cylinder. You can even just press it down like we did for the body to flatten both the edges of the cylinder. Same thing for the second piece. Flatten the edges. All right. So we have both our legs, all four of our legs ready, the body ready, and the head. So I'm just going to check the comments once to see if everybody is ready. Do you want me to wait a little bit more, or should we go ahead? Could you put in some thumbs up so I can see that you guys are ready? Okay, we have some. Okay, we'll wait for a few more moments and then we'll get started. So what do we have left? We have made four legs, we've made the head, we've made the body, we have to make the ears, the trunk, and the tail. So we're almost done with a major part of the sculpture. The most fun part comes now where we're going to add details. All right. So I asked you guys to have a fork ready with you. We're going to take the first front leg. Now you're going to use, the fork has many prongs. You're going to use one of them to create slight indentations to make the details of the foot. So I'm just going to give you a close up. Very simple, a very simple tool, but it gives you the effect that you want. So very slight indentations. If you use too much pressure, you might change the shape of the leg. So be careful and make 3 small indentations. I'm going to go ahead and do that for all the legs. Very little pressure. And we're done with the second leg. Now here, according to our sketch which we had, we're going to have the bottom part of the cylinder facing us. So what you're going to do on top may not be seen if you see the sculpture from the front, but when you see the sculpture as a whole, it will be seen. So we're going to be adding those details here as well. Okay. So all 4 legs are also ready. Now we're going to go ahead and make the ears. So because this is your elephant, you can make his ears as big or small as you want. You can make his trunk as long or short as you want. So the whole point of this exercise is that it doesn't have to look exactly like what I'm making. You can feel free to experiment and do some, make your own version of this character. So now for the ears, again, I'm taking a sphere. The same steps we're going to repeat again. Roll it into a cylinder. Now here you can see I'm rolling it between my palms. You can also do it on the mat. We're going to divide it into 2 equal parts and roll them into mini spheres. Okay, so now we want the ears to be flat and we want them to be able to stick on the sides of the head without falling off. So for that, I'm going to show you how to do it. So we want them to be slightly oval. So again, take the sphere, roll it into a slight cylinder. Now this doesn't have to be a cylinder, but it just has to be like an elongated sphere. And we're going to take it between the forefinger and the thumb and simply press it. Again, the amount of pressure you use is very important. So we have 2 ears here. So now, because of the way I have pressed it, I already have this sort of detail of the ear that comes because of my thumb. But if you don't have it, you could also use a spoon to create that same kind of detail. Just press it lightly enough so that you get that indentation. All right. So now, as you can see, we have a disc, but we have, so this part of the disc is thicker and this is thinner. This is just so that it can be pressed and stuck to the back of the head in a smooth way. So make sure you have that. One side of your disc should be thicker, one side should be thinner. So we have our 2 ears. Now we're going to go ahead and make the trunk. Again, we're going to start with a sphere and make a cylinder. So this process of the trunk is very similar to the front leg. A little bit more. Roll it into a sphere and make it a cylinder. Okay. So now at this point, you can see, compare it to the proportion of the head and see if you think it's too long, you can shorten it a little bit. So as you can see, I originally made a cylinder. One side of the cylinder is tapering and one side is thick. So I'm just going to keep it as is. Once we connect it and assemble it, if I feel like it's too long, we can always shorten it from the other end. So again, for this also, I'm going to flatten the back so that this can paste to the head properly. All right. And the last piece we have to make is the tail, which is also very simple. But here you have to take a very small sphere and roll that. So now when you're rolling, if you're making a very thin, you want to make a very thin cylinder, take your 2 fingers and start rolling them away from each other. This way, if it's very thin, it does not get cut. So you have a very smooth sort of string of clay that can become the thing. So you can use 3 fingers or you can use 2 fingers. I'm going to use the fork to cut off the rest. So you can even taper one side. That's up to you. All right. So we have the tail. So now we're going to assemble. I'm going to wait for 2 minutes. Is everybody ready? Can you show me some thumbs ups before we get to assembling? All right. So should we start assembling? Okay. So first we're going to assemble the body, then we're going to assemble the head, and then we're going to combine the two to make the final sculpture. So for the body, again, if you haven't pressed it down already, make sure you press it so it has a flat bottom. Smooth out any imperfections if you see them. Now we're going to start by putting the 2 front legs. So because the elephant is sitting, we have eliminated one complication of him having to stand on the 4 legs. So the assembly process is going to be very simple. We're just going to put the front 2 legs, then the hind legs, and then we're going to attach the head. So take your first leg, attach it. So when you're attaching it, make sure you're putting in the right amount of pressure. So it shouldn't like simply come off very easily. And at the same time, it shouldn't change the shape of either of the 2 pieces that we're attaching. So make sure your pressure is appropriate. Also make sure the indentations that you made are seen. Then add the second leg. Now, this is an optional step. You can choose to sort of blend the two legs together is just an added detail. It's not necessary that you have to do it, but usually if you were to draw how he is sitting, then you would be able to see that the two legs, this line that goes between the two legs, wouldn't go all the way to the top. So if you want to take that step, you can. Just if you're blending it, again, like how we did it for the indentations that were there, very small and light pressure movements of your thumb. All right. So we have attached the front two legs. Now for the hind legs. So if you attach them like this, they might be too stout. So we'll just roll this side so that it becomes a little tapered so that it can go all the way to the back and attach. Same thing for the other leg. Make sure you're not deforming any of the front details that you have made. Again, very simple process. Same thing. With the right amount of pressure, just put it on both sides. You can blend it in properly. If you blend it in, then there's a higher chance that it will last longer, the sculpture, because the pieces will not fall out. So make sure you do a good job attaching all the pieces properly. All right. So our body has been assembled. Now we'll go to the head. So for the head, we have the face, we have 2 ears, we have the trunk, and we have to make the eyes. So we're going to start with the 2 ears. Attach them on both sides. Attach them to the back of the head. Don't attach it to the side. If you put it on the side, it's going to fall out. So that's why we made one side thinner than the other side, so that it sticks properly. So put it on one side, put it on the other. Now here you have to be very careful, because when you're blending this, if you press it too much from the front, it's just going to become a flat disc. So again, controlling your pressure is everything. Just very lightly blend the ears in. All right. So our ears are fixed. Now we're going to take the trunk. Now, if you just put it like this, then there's a chance that it will fall out. So what you're going to do is, with your thumb and this part of your index finger, you're just going to flatten that disc a little bit more so that it's easier to blend. So flatten it and turn it with this finger. Very simply, just trying to extend that part of the cylinder so that it attaches properly. So you should have something that looks like this. Now attach it to the front part of the face. And again, we're going to follow the same procedure of blending it. So you can even pull this down a little bit so that you can see more of the face of the elephant. And then it's up to you how you want to pose this, which we will come to in the end. All right, so our face is also ready. I'm just going to wait for 2 minutes so that everybody can catch up. Okay, now we're going to try and put everything together. So at this point, if you want to make the eyes with a different color of clay, you can go ahead and do that. Or you can even keep it very simple and just, make 2 indentations for the eyes if that's what you prefer. But I'm just going to show you how to make the eyeballs. So we're going to make a short cylinder from this white clay. We're going to cut it into 2, again, equal parts. And these are really tiny spheres. So instead of rolling it in my hand, I'm just doing it with my forefinger and my thumb. Okay, so we're going to attach these. Again, when you put it, just slightly press it onto the head so that it stays. So we have our 2 eyes. We're going to do the same thing with the black clay, but this time it's even smaller. So like I said, if this is like too small for you, you can simply just mark them with an indentation. but I'm just going to show you how to do it. So if you want to, you can. So you're going to pick up this really tiny sphere and put it and lightly press it, and you have the eyeball. Okay. So our face is ready. And now we're just going to put it onto the head, onto the body. Again, very lightly press it without deforming any of the sculpture, any of the pieces below. All right. So this is how the final elephant looks. Now you can pose his trunk however you want to. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a twist. And that's it. So what you can also do with your fork is just make little indentations to add some more detail onto the trunk, or you can just leave it as it is. All right. Awesome. Has everybody managed to reach this point? Can I have some thumbs ups? Okay. Great. So I think I'm going to conclude here. You can use the same techniques that I taught of you manipulating the sphere and the cylinder to make shapes, to make all different kinds of animals and characters. Make sure you share all the pictures of the elephant that you have made and DM them to Curry Details, and don't put them in the comments because we won't be able to see it. And I'm really looking forward to see what all you guys have made. Thank you so much.